Your family didn't ask you. They didn't ask you to make all the sacrifices that you've made. And while they are admirable, there is probably another way. And when I say probably, I should just correct myself. There is another way. My name is Brian Panizzo. I'm a former bond trader turned executive health and performance coach. I build systems finance professionals can live with for good. I know your world from the inside because I lived it for 20 years. Your career runs on systems. Your life outside the office should too. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Brian. This is the Success Lift podcast, and I appreciate you being back with me. I've gotten some messages from some new listeners lately. It's always awesome when people find the show and start going back and listening to episodes that we've previously done. I always go back every once in a while and listen to some of the older episodes and realize, man, I sucked. And it's a good reminder that wherever you're at in your life, you're going to look at your past and you're going to go, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I had that haircut. I can't believe I wore those clothes. I can't believe I believed those things. And as we've discussed over the last couple of weeks, helping you believe new things about yourself, helping you develop skills and a new skill set for yourself that you can take with the rest of your life is one of the many goals of a program like this. And hopefully one of the things that you get out of this podcast as well, because I realize that everyone who listens to this podcast is not going to come through a program like mine, and that is okay. That's why we have free content that we put out to the world via this podcast, my LinkedIn profile, my Instagram profile, my daily email. If you're not on any of those, go check me out. I'm Brian Panuzzo on LinkedIn and Instagram, and we always have the link, the access link to get to my daily email. It's a very short message that gets delivered to your inbox at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been doing it for over 6 years, longer than the podcast, to be fair, every single day, and it's something I'm super proud of. It's a streak, quite frankly, I've actually thought about breaking because I don't know if it makes sense for me to do it every single day, but there's part of me that wants to hold on to that, and I need to evaluate that I'm letting you inside the hood here right now, a little therapy session for me, whether or not I should be doing that. I don't like breaking streaks. I like keeping streaks, but does it actually make sense? If I had someone audit me and my business and what's the most effective places that I spend my time, because I spend time on it. I don't just have AI write my emails for me. It's me typing on the computer. Is it the most efficient thing? But for now, we're going to keep it. So why don't you go check it out? Because it's one of the places that we provide free value and content to you in addition to this weekly podcast. So if you're new, appreciate you being here. If you've been here for 300 plus, I love you. I love you either way. Thank you. The message this week, I've been thinking about a few quotes or a few phrases that I've come across either in different coaching programs that I'm in, because I have coaches in my life, different events and retreats that I've gone to because I go to learn, I go to connect with people, I go to find different ideas to bring back into my own world, number one, selfishly for myself, to better myself and to have me continue to move forward and, as we say in my program and everywhere, close the gap in performance and elite performance. Close the gap between, I'm doing this with my hands, for those of you who are not watching on YouTube, put one hand up real high, maybe over your head, and another one kind of around your chest. And the goal always is to continue to close the gap between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. And the cool part about that is that when you get there to that spot that you think you were after, there is a new level, just like the video games we used to play back in the day. New levels, new devils, as they say. And it's a never-ending quest to improve your life, because once you get one place, you're going to realize that there's more out there for you, and that's pretty cool. It's the blessing and the curse. You spend a lot of time chasing after something that you think you want, and then you get there and you realize there's more out there. And so there's only one finish line for all of us, and that's us ending up in the dirt somewhere, in a box, in an oven, I don't know, whatever it is you want your end of life to be. But that's it. That's all there is, right? And so I thought about a couple of things recently as it pertains to my life as a professional in likely the seat that you sit in, my life is a little bit different right now, but same stress, just a different day to day, right? Same grind, but different sources of stresses and pressure. I used to be a small cog in a big wheel of Wall Street on a trading desk as part of a major global firm, and now I am the wheel. All right, I'm not a cog in the wheel. I am the wheel, and the wheel still needs to turn though. It's just my job to turn it a little bit more than I used to. I used to be a small part of it. Now I'm a much bigger part of it, but the stress is the same. Okay, and I thought about the quest that we all go on in search of providing for the people that we love the most. Now our careers start usually without families for most of us, right? In our early 20s. And we think we want something. We think we want, career success and money and status and the cool stuff that we get to do along the way. And ultimately we realize we're doing it for others in our lives. And we get married, potentially we start a family and we have kids, and we feel this sense of responsibility. I still remember sitting in the hospital room when my son was born and realizing that oh snap, it is not just about me and my wife anymore. I got this thing that I need to do stuff for. I need to create for. And for all of my parents out there, that's a level of responsibility that hits you pretty hard. And you realize that it's not just about yourself anymore. And obviously the more children you have, the more you feel it, and the more they grow, the more responsibilities pick up. You think a baby is expensive. Wait till your teenage son starts driving. Those kids are expensive. And maybe or maybe not, I don't know if I'll experience this with my son, but I'm pretty sure college is expensive too. And maybe he'll be good enough to get a scholarship and I won't have to pay some money. I'm sure there'll still be a lot of money, but you know what I'm doing along the way right now is I'm funding this kid's dream to become a elite baseball player. And as I reminded him the other day, he is expensive. He is expensive. Holy crap. And so we feel this sense of responsibility and we make sacrifices along the way. I don't need to tell you all the sacrifices you've made. You might be listening to me right now because you feel like you've made a lot of sacrifices that you would love to redo. You'd love to hit the redo button and potentially do it another way. Now, while you can't change the past, you can begin to shape the future. You can't predict the future. I've been talking to clients recently about the equation E plus R equals O, event plus response equals outcome. Now, this is credited to a number of different people. If you Google it, you'll find 15 different coaches who've talked about this. I believe originally it was referenced by a guy named Jack Canfield, but other coaches have taken it and made it their own, and that's okay because we're all repurposing similar information and delivering it in a way, hopefully, that you receive it. And hopefully I deliver information in a way that a busy corporate professional, probably more like a financial professional, receives it, who's a parent, who has a busy job, who maybe has to be out 3 or 4 nights a week, who has busy stuff, has kids stuff on the weekends, who has to travel every once in a while, who's married, who wants to stay connected, who wants their honeymoon phase to never fizzle out in their marriage. And if it has, how do you get it back? That is a farce, by the way. You should never have a honeymoon phase. Your connection should continue to get better and better as you go. It shouldn't be peak connection and then slowly decline. That's something you learn inside of a program like ours. But we make sacrifices. And a really powerful statement that I heard that was posed to me recently was, your family didn't ask you to do this. Your family didn't ask you to make the sacrifices that you have made over the last 15 to 20 years. And the spin I put on that from there was, they likely don't really care that much either. I can vividly recall the time that I showed up at my house at, 6:30 p.m. after a long workday, commute home from Midtown Manhattan to Bergen County, New Jersey. And I walked in the door, and I don't know if my guess my daughter was born yet. She might have been like an infant. My son was like 5, 6 years old, something like that. So my daughter may have just been born right around then. Quick backstory, my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, was on a very popular kids TV show on Nickelodeon called The Thundermans. She's the mom, for any of you who have young kids who see that show. I think now it's on Netflix. And it was a very popular show, and it was a big deal when Auntie Rosa was Barb Thunderman. And so my kids watched it all the time, my son especially, because it was right in the middle of that period of his childhood where this was super cool. It's a spin for those of you who have no freaking clue what I'm talking about. It was a spin-off of The Incredibles, the movie The Incredibles, this family of superheroes that goes into hiding and pretends they're like real people, but they still have their superpowers. And so Thundermans is on, I walk in the door, and I'm telling my wife, of course, about how amazing I am because I traded a lot of bonds that day and made a lot of money. And my wife is just nodding up and down and telling me, you're great, you're amazing. She had no clue what I did, actually on a day-to-day basis. And I didn't even see my son because he was laying down on the couch. So we had this like big, great room from the kitchen all the way, it's a little kitchen table, and then all the way into the main living room. It was just one big space, which was awesome, in our home in New Jersey. And all of a sudden he pops his head up above the couch so that I can see him. And he basically tells me to zip it. He goes, Dad, shh, shh, Thundermans is on. You're talking too much. As I'm explaining how amazing I am for providing for my family financially. And in that moment, with my wife sort of nodding like, just finish up because I'm trying to support you and make you feel like you're important in this family and I appreciate what you do, but I really don't care about your day-to-day. And there's way more important things, by the way, than you trading a lot of bonds on a day-to-day basis. And my 5 or 6 year old popping his head up, watching the show on the TV that I bought with my money, with my bond trading money, right, with my P&L, in the house, with the mortgage that I pay, with the wealth that I've created, he tells me to zip it. And that was one small moment that I looked, at the moment, I'm like, yo, what's going on right now? Like, don't you know who you're talking to, bro? And now I look back going like, oh, wow, that was pretty wise advice. Shut up. There's more important stuff going on right now. There's family business happening right now. You're home, enjoy your family, be with your family. Instead of talking about how great you are for the last 10 hours, because tomorrow you might walk in the door and start getting your balls kicked in and then you're not the man anymore. And so my family didn't ask me to sacrifice all the things that I did. My family didn't ask me to put on 20 or 30 pounds. My family didn't ask me to get into constant joint pain because I didn't take care of my body. My family didn't ask me to develop pedestrian drug, alcohol, and gambling addictions. They didn't ask me to create and feel the stress that I created and not have an outlet to get rid of it. They didn't ask me to become physically and mentally, inferior to what I was capable of becoming. I just decided that was my responsibility. And that's the responsibility that we all kind of feel like we've decided or feel like we've now taken on. And then we create this world around us where it's like, I got to do this thing. And in reality, I don't know. Do you? Now I realize you got to show up every day and you got to do your job. And you likely have to continue the performance that you've created for yourself, that you've shown that you're capable of doing. I'm not just telling you should go and Jerry Maguire, into the office on Monday morning or, maybe tomorrow if you're listening to this on Monday afternoon on your ride home and just decide to do it a brand new way. But what I'm saying is like, you're the one who's created this like thing that you have to like now figure out. And it's not anybody else's fault. It wasn't anyone else's fault but my own. And so your family, again, I'll say it again, your family didn't ask you. They didn't ask you to make all the sacrifices that you've made. And while they are admirable, there is probably another way. And when I say probably, I should just correct myself. There is another way. There's another way for you to do it. And that's one of the things that we help executives inside of our program do. Another phrase, quote, that I heard really, really hit me hard. And that's the people you love the most oftentimes get the worst version of you. Damn. The people you love the most oftentimes get the worst version of you. That one had me stop and be like, I mean, I can recall walking in and being frustrated with the day and my body hurting and being tired from another poor night of sleep, self-induced, by the way, and taking it out on my family, being a dick, being short, not being a connected husband and father because like a trade didn't go my way. I didn't get a trade done because it wasn't the day that I expected it to be because I hit traffic on the way home. Shocker. I hit traffic coming outside of New York City at 5:30 p.m. heading over the George Washington Bridge to Bergen County, New Jersey. What a shocker. Hope you can sense the sarcasm in my voice. Yet I let it affect my state, and I walked into the door and took it out on people that did not care, that didn't even want me to do some of the things that I was doing. Now, who got the best of me? Who got the best version of myself? Clients? Strangers at work? Like, imagine I walked around saying some of the things that I would say, the passive aggressive stuff I would say to my wife, to a random person on the trading floor at UBS or Seaport or at Merrill Lynch when I first started. Didn't really have a family then. You just walk by someone and mumble under your breath like something you've been holding like inside for a while, some passive aggressive comment. I would never do that. I'd smile, I'd fake it, say hi. How you doing? I'm great. I'm great. Of course I'm good. Everything's good. Look at me. The people I love the most got the worst version of me. We put on our best facade for people who ultimately, do they care about us? Yeah, I think some of your clients, some of your customers care about you, genuinely. Some of my client relationships have turned into, on Wall Street, have turned into client relationships inside my business now. I currently work with people who were clients of mine in my old life, and they become great friends. They were friends then. We've developed an amazing relationship, and they'll be my friends for life. And I cherish that. But like, again, they're not my wife and kids, They got the best version of me. Like, how crazy is that? How crazy is that? And so I wanted to share those two thoughts that I've had a lot recently, because I wish that I had somebody share that with me when I was operating a different way. It would have made a really, now here's the thing. I don't know if I would have received it and been in a place to receive it so that I could do something about it. And so I hope that this message finds you in a place that you might at least think about it, especially if you're someone who's listening to me, maybe for the first few times I haven't gained your trust, I haven't built any credibility with you yet, or we're still in the early stages of this virtual credibility. I've talked a lot about recently, like, a lot of you don't even know who I am. You never met me before. I'm a voice on a podcast that you listen to. And while I'm incredibly appreciative of that, we don't have a strong rapport yet. And it's something that happens as a relationship matures. I hopefully gain more influence over you if you put into practice some of the things that I say and get results. And you're like, oh, snap. I'm trying not to curse as much on this podcast. This guy might know a little bit about what he's saying based on his experience, based on his lived experience in my world, based on working with people now for years in my world. He might know what he's talking about. And while I don't know everything, and in fact, I would argue I know a very little about what there is to know in totality of the world, I know a lot about a little bit. I know a lot about it. And so maybe you're not in a place yet to take that and go, oh my God, he's right. I need to change everything about the way I do everything. But I would ask you to just consider those two thoughts, because it really was a big eye-opener for me. The last quote that I heard from a friend recently was, don't complain about having a lot on your plate when your goal was to eat. Don't complain about having a lot on your plate when your goal was to eat. My friend Dan posted that recently, and I was like, damn, I got to share this with every single one of my clients, because this is what we do. This is what we do. It ties into the first two things that I just said. I would come home and I would complain about things going on in my life when my goal was to create those things for my family, for me. And then we complain about it and we blame it. We blame what we don't have, what we would maybe want if we had the redo opportunity, on the things that we chased after because we were hungry. And so I would just remind you that you asked for this life. Now, here's the key. Is there a better way? I would argue yes, there is. And that's something that a program like ours helps you create. It helps teach you the skills. It helps you install the operating system, develop the standards that get you the results that you want, so that you can look at your life in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and honestly say, I'd take just about all that. Again, in the audit process, are there some things that you'll likely want to sub out a little bit? Of course. If there weren't, I would say you don't have enough of a desire to chase the next level, to close the next gap. But if you want to eat, there's going to be a lot of things on your plate. This is a Thanksgiving dinner we're having, metaphorically, in our professional lives. Can't be mad at getting full, having that tryptophan turkey reaction, where you got to go lay on the couch a little bit, deep breath, unbutton the pants. But a program like ours, or the other great ones out there, will show you how to not stuff yourself and to continue to operate. This podcast episode helped you, share it with somebody. Share it with someone else new, so that someone else new can find us and I can build trust with them. If you haven't left a review or a rating, I don't ask much anymore, but if you haven't left a review and a rating for the podcast in a while, please go over to Apple or Spotify and do that. Appreciate you guys. See you back here next week.